Sky's the limit, the truth is on our side. There's no time for worry, let's show the world our pride. Whether another comes up with a surprise, we all will discover where our fate will lie. On a blue wave, we rise to save the day. Only me, only you can let our hearts sail away on a blue wave.
And welcome to episode 45 of TruBlu Politics Podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm here
Anita.
with my co-host,
Anita.
Hi, Anita.
Hi, Karen.
Should we start it over again?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Everybody understands we screw up occasionally, a lot.
Yeah. Well, this could be an outtake, but we've entered a very strange time in America, something that's foreign to you and I think in our lifetime. We've read about in history books, but it seems that we have moved into a very
yes, but we've
strange
seen
time.
it. We've seen it in other countries. We've seen it in China,
other countries,
we've seen it in North Korea,
that's why
recently
I'm saying
in Russia.
That's what I'm saying in America.
America, no.
Yeah.
I don't think. Well, that's not. I mean, we saw McCarthyism. Okay.
I'm talking about you and I in our lifetime.
No, in our lifetime. But I was just going to say McCarthyism, wasn't even. This is beyond that. It's similar to that.
Right.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is you and I in our life's experience for the years that we have been around, we have never, ever experienced this ourselves. This is stuff that we have read about. This is stuff that we heard about. We've seen clips of, but you and I have never actually.
Well, no, but I was just going to say, but McCarthyism was one thing because it was led by Joe McCarthy, who was a senator. This is led by the President of the United States and his administration. That is the difference.
Yes.
There was blacklisting. We all know it was wrong. I mean,
what are we speaking about, Anita? Should we play a clip to
let's
introduce?
Explain. Yes, let's introduce the whole. I mean, everybody knows Jimmy Kimmel was recently fired by ABC. I know indefinitely suspended.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically fired.
Mm-hmm.
And so go ahead and play that. It kind of lays it out. It's Mika Brzezinski, right?
So I have a clip of Mika Brzezinski, and although I have not been watching Morning Joe,
me neither. No.
And it's not lost on either one of us.
Yeah.
The irony of these guys now coming out and sounding the alarm when they were one of the first ones to line up to bend down and capitulate. Mm-hmm. Yep. So I'm going to play this though because for this moment, it kind of captures the moment. Yeah. So this is the authoritarian stream. FCC chair's own words resurface. And of course, we're speaking about FCC chairman Brandon Carr. And I will play this.
And in the history of some of the other statements he's made, which contradict his actions now.
So then and now, here we go.
Was named to the position by President Trump last year after rising through the ranks at the agency. He's long spoken out against government censorship and for the freedom of speech. In 2019, Carr posted on social media, quote, "Should the government censor speech it doesn't like? Of course not. The FCC does not have a roving mandate to police speech in the name of the public interest." In 2021, he wrote, quote, "A newsroom's decision about what stories to cover and how to frame them should be beyond the reach of any government official." In 2022, Carr posted, quote, "Political Well, satire is one of the oldest and most important forms of free speech. It challenges those in power while using humor to draw more people into the discussion. That's why people in influential positions have always targeted it for censorship. In 2023, he said, quote, "Free speech is the counterweight. It is the check on government control. That is why censorship is the authoritarian's dream." And yet, here was Carr in an interview yesterday, right before ABC announced they were pulling Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air.
You know, when you look at the conduct that has taken place by Jimmy Kimmel, it appears to be some of the sickest conduct possible. Frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or, you know, there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. A very reasonable, minimal step that can be taken. I mean, obviously, look, there's calls for Kimmel to be fired. I think, you know, you could certainly see a path forward for suspension over this. And again, you know, the FCC is going to have remedies that we could look at.
What does this mean? We can do this the easier way or the hard way?
Read the North Star statement, and then we play Jimmy Kimmel. This is the awful thing that Jimmy Kimmel said, and we're going to play it after you read the statement by North Star, which is the...
Okay, so it's Nexstar, ABC affiliates to preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely beginning tonight.
And Nexstar is the one that is, I guess, owner of these local affiliates, which would run the Jimmy Kimmel show. And so they want to purchase 80% of these local affiliates, but right now they can only purchase 39% because there's a law that says they can only own up to 39%. And they want this FCC to bend the rules. So not only this is scary in many different ways. Okay, one ownership of 80% of the local airways is pretty scary, honestly. And Sinclair is part of that, by the way, which is a right-wing, what do you call that? Network? Conglomerate, yeah.
And they buy up a lot of the local stations across America. And so this article, it's dated September 17th, 2025. And it states, Nexstar Media Group, Inc. today announced that the company's owned and partner television stations affiliated with the ABC television network will preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live for the foreseeable future, beginning with tonight's show. Nexstar strongly objects to recent comments made by Mr. Kimmel concerning the killing of Charlie Kirk and will replace the show with other programming in its ABC-affiliated markets. Mr. Kimmel's comments about the death of Mr. Kirk are offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse that we do not believe they reflect the spectrum of opinions, views, or values of the local communities in which we are located. With Andrew Alford, president of Nexstar's broadcasting division, continuing to give Mr. Kimmel a broadcast platform in the communities we serve is simply not in the public interest at the current time, and we have made the difficult decision to preempt his show in an effort to let cooler heads prevail as we move toward the resumption of respectful, constructive dialogue.
Okay, now play the Jimmy Kimmel, the actual monologue from Jimmy Kimmel. This is what they're calling so disrespectful to the Kirk family and to Charlie Kirk, and who Brandon Carr said was so horrible. This was so horrible. Now you you decide what you think.
We had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. Okay. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. There's demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish.
Okay, what was more disrespectful? The Donald Trump saying, you know, oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing good. See my ballroom? Look at all the trucks.
Mm-hmm. Right. He didn't say anything. There was literally nothing that he said about Charlie Kirk in that.
And as a matter of fact, I sent you the statement that Charlie Kirk put out immediately afterwards.
Yep.
Talking about do you have that?
No. After what?
After Charlie Kirk's death, after he was assassinated, there's a post that he put out. Jimmy Kimmel said, I'm sorry, what Jimmy Kimmel put out.
So Jimmy Kimmel said, instead of the angry finger pointing, can we just for one day agree that it is horrible and monstrous to shoot another human? On behalf of my family, we send love to the Kirks and to all the children, parents, and innocents who fall victim to senseless gun violence.
Okay. I mean, this is blown so out of proportion. And we all know because Donald Trump has, after Colbert, he said Jimmy Kimmel was next.
Yes.
And now he's saying Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened here is it hurt Donald Trump's feelings that he was being called out for being so disgraceful and so disrespectful himself and not really caring because he doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump doesn't care about Charlie Kirk.
No.
He cares about him as much as he can benefit him politically.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is just so ridiculous, this whole situation, and to attack our free speech, it's such a threat to us as a nation.
Yeah.
What's going to happen when they make fun of him on SNL? You're going to do something about that too now?
Right. Well, I'm going to say here, I'm just going to play this.
News pulling Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air indefinitely over the late night host comments on the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
That's right. Ty Pyro joins us with the latest on that. Good morning, Ty.
Good morning to all three of you. The shakeup comes as Jimmy Kimmel continued to reference Charlie Kirk and the alleged gunman this week during his late night monologues. It all started with him calling out President Trump just a day after the assassination. Watch.
With all these terrible things happening, you would think that our president will at least make an attempt to bring us together, but he didn't. He had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from.
After the comedian's contentious remarks about the president on September 11th and then the MAGA base on September 15th, as you heard, Kimmel continued again on Tuesday, stating, quote, many in MAGA land are working very hard to capitalize on the murder of Charlie Kirk. The FCC warning Disney there would be action taken against his comments, and then ABC pulled him off the air indefinitely shortly thereafter. Just before ABC's announcement, the president of one of the country's largest TV stations said it would stop airing Kimmel's show, calling the host's comments offensive and insensitive, and that they don't represent the values of the communities in which we are located. They're going to replace programming in its ABC-affiliated market.
Okay, they're lying. That's not what happened. It wasn't the executives at ABC that were so offended by what Jimmy Kimmel said. It was Brandon Carr and Donald Trump. It was Donald Trump, first of all. That's what happened here. We all know that. He said Jimmy Kimmel's next after Colbert. And Colbert got fired because he didn't like what Colbert was saying about him. We all know that. This is so obvious. And for him to sit there and say, oh, they were so offended, we all heard it. Was that anything out of bounds by a comedian on a late show? No.
No, not at all.
He wasn't insulting Charlie Kirk.
It's as absurd as these people on social media accusing people of first of all, any Democrat, but anybody on social media who is literally just trying to, accurately portray the things that Charlie Kirk said. And they try and
quoting him.
classify that as celebrating.
They're
his
quoting
death.
him. They're
Yeah.
showing video clips of Charlie Kirk saying those things. And that's supposedly, oh, you're out of context. No, they're not out of context. He said that about Michelle Obama and
Black women, black
yeah,
pilots.
no, not
or
just
black.
her.
Yeah.
But not just Michelle Obama, but Justice Jackson and
Mhm.
who was it? There was somebody else. I can't remember. But he said that they were, they took the space of what white person did take the space of? They don't have the mental capacity, and you can find that quote. He said that, and he said that about black pilots. You're right. He said if he saw a black pilot, he wouldn't feel safe. I mean, and you cannot play those videos of him saying those very words or something to that effect without everybody acting like you are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, but somebody at the Washington Post got fired over that. This is ridiculous. Charlie Kirk was not a good person. I'm sorry that he got killed in the way he did. It was traumatic. It was terrible.
Of course.
It was horrendous, and we all denounce that. No, but nobody on the right ever denounces violence when it happens to somebody on the left. When that senator, her husband, and her dog were murdered in their home, they had nothing to say about that. Donald Trump wouldn't even call the governor. Remember that? When Nancy Pelosi's husband was almost killed in his own home, 82 years old, he made fun of it. He made jokes about it. Donald Trump Jr. was posting pictures of a hammer and underwear and saying, here's his costume for Halloween.
Yeah.
And they were all making up conspiracies about it.
Yeah.
This happens all the time. And they will not admit, and they won't even admit that we have a problem with right-wing violence or with at least young white guys shooting up schools, committing violent acts. Just the other day, 2 days ago, a young white guy with the AR-15 shot 5 cops. 3 of them died, and a dog.
Yep.
In Pennsylvania.
Yep.
And what happened in Colorado, Karen? In Evergreen, Colorado. It was a 16-year-old white supremacist radicalized on the internet that shot a bunch of kids at school. And what was it? I don't know how many the kids were. Did anybody die in that? I don't know.
No, the kids were, the last thing I heard, they were in critical condition.
Like 12-year-olds.
But this is,
that's not the point.
Okay, but this is, all right. And it's not, but it isn't, but it is because they completely ignore the calls for common sense gun laws when there are school shootings. Technically, what happened, where Charlie Kirk was a school. That was a school shooting. Charlie Kirk, his entire public career, said that gun deaths were worth it as long as people could have unfettered access to the guns.
Yeah,
citing the Second Amendment. But here's the thing. So, the sick part about all of this, while they're spinning and they're talking, if this was just any other school shooting, it would have already come and gone. But they are continuing to talk about this. And what didn't get reported on at all, the fact that you and I don't even know whether those kids that were shot in Colorado lived or died.
Because it happens every day now.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
It happens every day. And I'm sorry, but even the one in Minnesota, the school shooting in Minnesota, that Catholic school, that was another white supremacist. Yes, it was. She was transgender, a transgender woman. But they try to make it. They tried to from the very beginning. Donald Trump came out from the very beginning and blamed the left before anybody knew anything. This was some radical left, and we have to go out. We have to get rid of all the radical left, organizations and people. As a matter of fact, he's.
Can we just point? Yeah. Can we point out though too? We're not the ones that obsess and focus on the identity of the shooter.
No.
Okay. 9 times out of 10, it happens that it is somebody who is ultra pro Second Amendment, their version, and is right wing. Are right wing fundamentalist and have been indoctrinated and radicalized by the Republican Party. But,
in the past,
but
since
we're not the ones that trod that out after every shooting. What what Democrats do, let me finish. What Democrats do is we call for common sense gun laws. And what do they always do? Every single time they accuse us of politicizing a shooting and that all they have to do is offer thoughts and prayers. But we can't talk about that. But now we're going to continue to talk about the fact that the shooter, the identity of the shooter, and each one of these things is, it's somebody from the left, or they focus on that. What does not change, regardless of who the shooter is, who the victims are. What is the common denominator in every single one of these situations is the guns and easy access to the guns.
Access to the guns. But here's the thing. They hope, they're like, oh, let him be a lefty.
Yeah.
Because that way we can go after lefties. And the people on the left are like, oh, let's hope he's a white supremacist, because otherwise they're just going to start attacking us.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about. Mm-hmm. We weren't going to attack. I mean, we weren't going to go after their rights. Okay.
No.
And, and they never have any solutions to any of this, because they won't even admit they have a problem. That we have a problem. We have a problem in this country. Easy access to guns.
Yes, and right-wing extremism definitely goes hand in hand with that.
And 1990, 75% of gun violence has happened the perpetrators are from the right wing, white supremacists, or some form of right wing. Mm-hmm. You can go back to Timothy McVeigh. Okay.
Exactly.
In Oklahoma City.
And for those of you not old enough to remember that was the Oklahoma City bombing.
Federal building, where they blew up the federal building and killed 19,
and there was a daycare in there, and
19 babies died.
Yes. Yep.
So, I mean, and when it's this white guy, it's always, must be what is wrong with them? It's mental illness, right? Mm-hmm. They won't even admit there's a problem. And almost always it's a young white guy.
Yep.
That's the problem. Even this was a young white guy raised by Republican gun nuts, MAGA family raised by Republican gun nuts. I guarantee you that he would not have resorted to this gun violence if he had not been raised around guns all his life.
Right.
And had easy access to a gun.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's just so many.
And instead of just, I mean, and we say this all the time, instead of just coming together with Democrats to really solve the problem, to do something about the problem, they constantly politicize it. They twist themselves into knots to say that it's about everything other than what it's a problem with. And then they always, they love to shift over. Well, what about, gun deaths in Chicago? They've got the most strict gun laws. I mean, we hear that. I get that every single time, every single time. And I know you have, but we're making a podcast for people that hopefully.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I haven't heard that.
Yes.
That's true. They get them from Indiana, okay?
Yeah.
That's where they get them from, where they have very loose gun laws.
Yes, all around us, there are states that have lax gun laws that have, like almost no wait times and, background checks, mental health checks. So that is where, and there's, if Donald Trump and the Republicans really cared about, Chicago's gun deaths, then what they would do instead of sending in the National Guard, they would give funding to stop the unfettered flow, the trafficking of guns across the state lines into the city of Chicago.
Well, that would mean gun reform. That would mean we have to have a national gun reform. And that's what we need. Yes. Actually, we need gun control, a nationwide system, and not this piecemeal thing where we have, gun laws in Chicago, gun laws in Illinois, and no gun laws in what's next to you, Michigan. And
Michigan,
Indiana.
Wisconsin, Indiana. Yeah.
They trace most of those guns on the streets of Chicago to one gun store in Indiana.
Right.
Like 75% of them.
Yeah.
They're selling them out of the back of their cars.
Right. So if they really want to do something about it to honor Charlie Kirk, who, despite the fact that he agreed that gun deaths were worth it. And I'm sorry, that's not celebrating. That's not celebrating him. That is literally parroting back what he said, his opinion and his stance on guns, on gun deaths. That was what he said.
And as a matter
and so it's just instead now we have a situation where they're just all over the place with this, and now they're pivoting to like they're framing him as this family man, and he's a devout Christian, but yet he said the most horrific things about gay people, trans people, immigrants, black
women.
people,
I mean, pretty much everybody. Gay people. When somebody said, one time he said, Leviticus says if somebody lays with a man lays with a man, that he should be stoned to death. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff that came out of his mouth all the time. And I'm not saying that he deserved to die. Nobody
Of course not. Of course not.
And the denunciation of violence, hold on. The denunciation of violence is only coming from the left. Joe Biden, Barack Obama, almost every politician has denounced this gun violence and denounced what this man did to Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
But have you heard it from the right? No, they're out. This is war.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go after.
They're declaring war on liberals, on Democrats.
Yeah. Before
and this is insane. And seriously, what is the irony of they're speaking about Charlie Kirk too in the frames of it. He was like a free speech warrior, First Amendment warrior.
Yeah,
and then right after that, in the wake of that, the FCC chair puts pressure on ABC.
And they're going after all these people who ever said anything, basically, that quoted Charlie Kirk, that put out a video that shows Charlie Kirk saying those very words, that ever said anything, that ever called it out. I sent you that article by Ta-Nehisi Coates who talks about this. Mm-hmm. And it's if anybody, it's in Vanity Fair. If you get a chance, try to look it up, Ta-Nehisi Coates. But I mean, these people are being fired just for talking about what Charlie Kirk actually said.
Yes.
They're quoting him. And these are the free speech warriors. They were always full of crap about free speech. They never wanted free speech. They want to be able to say the N-word or to call people tranny or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, Nancy Mace, she went out and did that like just the other day.
Oh, I know. She was blaming it. She's like, I don't feel safe anymore. They're coming after me. First of all, she's such a liar. That woman is crazy. I don't know if you remember this. Just saying, okay? Well, remember when she said that Antifa wrote all over her house and spray painted graffiti all over her house, now saying horrible things? So I don't even remember what it said. And it turns out it was in her handwriting. She had written it, and all of a sudden that story went away. She stopped saying it. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is the kind of stuff she says. Then she said that oh my God, some trans person hurt her, injured her arm, and that they attacked her. And then all these witnesses who were there at the time came forward and said, no, they just came and shook her hands and said, maybe you should rethink your stance on transgender kids. It was somebody from the foster, there were some lobbyists for foster children. Mm-hmm. And there were other people there. There were a number of people that and she was running around in a sling.
Yeah.
Okay. This
remember.
woman is crazy. And then remember, she was at like a drugstore or a makeup store or something like that. And this man just asked her about when she was going to have another town hall. And she was like, oh my God, you're attacking me.
Mm-hmm.
She is insane. There is something wrong with this woman. And then she goes after, so she doesn't feel safe after Charlie Kirk's death. Nobody is threatening her. These people make this stuff up. And until I hear a tape recording or actually hear those threats, I'm not going to believe it. Because I've heard Eric Swalwell.
I'm going to play this. Yeah. This is what Joy posted. Hold on, Joy Reid.
I think the issue is that you guys are saying that it mostly
Don
happens
Lemon.
on the left. No statistic, no government statistic, no study group, the Cato Institute, the Anti-Defamation League, the FBI, no government statistic shows what you're saying. It's showing the exact opposite, that 60 to 75% of the political violence is committed by people on the right. But yet you, the president, the vice president, the Attorney General of the United States are giving false information to the American people that it only happens on the left and that it is.
False information about Republicans. You guys have called.
But there's no facts to what you're saying.
Kamala Harris called us fascists while she was running for president.
The president called her fascist as well.
And you in the media have amplified that. You all have done that. A man was killed last week for having the, quote, national conversation that you want to have so peacefully. He did that, and he was murdered for it. And I live under.
You don't know if that's true. You don't know what you don't know what the motivation is. Do you have evidence of that?
Well, they said on the bullets there was fascist commentary on the bullets, pro-transgender commentary.
That's a lie right there.
Don't give me the bullshit
That could very well be so, but we don't know if that's true right now.
Was a transgender? Was a tranny? Come on, let's be honest about this.
That's disrespectful.
Republicans vote to table.
I really don't care because there are a lot of trannies out there that want me dead because I'm a rape victim who wants privacy in the bathroom. The trannies can F off. I don't care. They want to kill me, and they're not going to.
How would you like it if someone called you out of your name? If they called you a B word or any of that, how would you feel?
These people are calling me a cunt and all these awful names online. Are you kidding me? Come on. They are the most egregious, most vile, violent people on earth. They are mentally ill and should be in a straitjacket with a hard.
Who is she talking about?
That's a lot of projections. She's talking about transgender people are attacking her. And he said, how would you like if they called you out of your name? First of all, that's not happening. She's lying.
She's a liar.
She's always lying, and you should not. And nobody should give her the benefit of the doubt ever. Okay, she's crazy. But when she said, what did she say that she?
I'm sorry. How is she quelling bringing the rhetoric down and calming, calming things down? No,
none of them are. I'm telling you, on the right, none of them are denouncing violence. They asked Donald Trump, "Will you denounce violence?" and he couldn't do it.
No, Jesse Waters. Exactly. Jesse Waters came right out of the gate after this happened and said that this is war.
I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, these people, this is what they want. They want to use this as an excuse to justify their to crack down on all of our free speech. That's what they want to do, and our rights.
Yes.
They're using Charlie Kirk's death, this just like Hitler used the Reichstag fire.
Yep.
And one of them actually came out and said, "Oh, y'all are calling us not some influencer." I wish I remember Benny Johnson or somebody came out and said, "Oh, it's because you all call us Nazis all the time. You're calling us Nazis. That's what led to this kind of violence."
Sure.
And then like an hour later, he tweets out, "This is our Reichstag moment."
And these are the same people that say that Donald Trump saying come to the Capitol on January 6th is going to be wild. That wasn't him calling for violence.
It's also, it's a terrorist. And he pardoned 1,500 violent criminals.
Yes. And now here in Chicago, we have ICE terrorists terrorizing the surrounding neighborhoods in Chicago, the Latino neighborhoods, grabbing people off of work trucks, grabbing them out of their kids' school parking lots, grabbing them out of the Home Depot parking lots.
And violent. They're violently pulling them out of their own cars or breaking through their windows if they won't open the door because they're scared, or shooting them because they drive off because they're scared that this masked person shows up and starts banging on their window.
Right. With no identification.
Yeah.
No reason. No warrants.
No warrant. Nothing.
Nothing.
They're just they're brown, and apparently, according to this Supreme Court, they can do that.
Right. Right.
So I mean, if you're brown, you're not safe in this country right now.
No. Well, and I do want to talk about that because we really are in the thick of it over here. But I do want to play this because I have to say I was so happy to hear Representative Swalwell.
Yeah, Eric Swalwell
talking about this censorship. So let me play this. I think this is it.
Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Of course. The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. And I'll get to AI in a moment, but I'm not going to miss the opportunity to ask my colleagues, the proponents of free speech across the aisle and the champions who sit with me to condemn in the harshest terms what is happening right now from our administration. The second late night comedian has been taken off the air because the president did not like a joke. I want to first condemn in the harshest tones the murder of Charlie Kirk. He should be with his family right now. He should be with his children. He should be alive. He had a right to say what he wanted to say to who he wanted to say without any physical violence being brought his way. And Jimmy Kimmel had a right to say what he said, which didn't in any way suggest that somebody in the MAGA world had been responsible for the murder of Charlie Kirk. He was just pointing out what folks online were doing as Twitter detectives before any investigation had been completed were saying about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And then he pointed out that Donald Trump, who did not go to Kirk's memorial service at the Kennedy Center over the weekend, when he was asked how he was feeling about the assassination, did not address it, but rather went right to a construction project. And for that, Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air. That's not who we are. That's what it looks like in China. That's what it looks like in Russia. That can't be what it looks like in America. And the foundation of this, the genesis of this, was the president's FCC chairperson, Brandon Carr, sending a tweet that said essentially, and giving an interview to a podcaster where he said essentially, if ABC doesn't want to do this the easy way and suspend Jimmy Kimmel, we will do it the hard way. And it would be government censorship. Maybe I was not loud enough in the past when Republicans spoke out against government censorship. And if that's the case, I will go back and revisit whether I could have been louder. But that does not mean that today Republicans are silent just in an effort to own the libs. If you didn't like cancel culture when you thought it was happening in prior administrations, you certainly can't look at what just happened in our country and accept that that is something we should live with and we should tolerate. So I want to make it clear, there's going to be a Democratic majority in just over a year. And to the FCC chairperson and anyone involved in these dirty deals, get a lawyer and save your records, because you're going to be in this room and you're going to be answering questions about the deals that you struck and who benefited and what the cost was to the American people because that happened.
Okay, the only problem I have with that was he talks about government overreach from the Democratic administration. I'm not sure what he's talking about. I think he might be talking about how, because they whine about not being able to make fun of trans
He's
people.
I think that he's peppering it with,
But you can't give them an inch.
I understand, Anita, but you know what? I mean, the fact of the matter is he got to it. He got to it. I think that he made his point. And
well, I don't know. I wasn't happy with that.
Well,
because I mean, seriously, you cannot give them an inch because they will take it and run with it.
Well,
just say,
and the bottom line is, what he was saying, at the end there, that is not, of course they'll be like, oh, they'll call it retribution, that they're going to, seek retribution, right? That's what they're going to do. We know that they're going to do that. And the reality of the situation is what he will be calling for is accountability. And that is what I appreciate in that entire statement, is that he is saying, get ready, because you guys are going to be questions. There will be hearings around this.
But I know how they think on the right. And they're going to say, look, he admitted the government overreached and they did that to us. So we are justified.
Well, and they had their hearings, didn't they? They had their hearings.
About censorship?
Yeah, sure.
But he was admitting that he was saying that we did.
Okay, well,
But
whatever. We can.
Okay, let me tell you what, and they're upset about. They're upset about the Hunter Biden thing with the laptop because Joe Biden. This is the government interference. Okay, Joe Biden made a call to Twitter and asked them not to allow these postings of revenge porn of his son. Mm-hmm. That's what they're talking about. That's the only time the government, wait a minute, Joe Biden wasn't even in government. And he was a candidate.
Right. And I think that's what they were referring to.
But
that's what he was referring to.
But it wasn't government trying to censor. Joe Biden wasn't even a candidate at that time.
I understand.
So I'm just saying you cannot give them an inch. I'm sorry, because they will run with that. And they will say, well, see, you know what? You've agreed that was censorship. Eric Swalwell agreed.
Right. I see what you're saying. Yep.
And that's the only problem. I liked what he said about, hey, we're going to be the majority and we're coming after you. You better lawyer up. Yeah. I like that. And I like Eric Swalwell. I'm just saying, sometimes as Democrats, we try to bend over backwards to be fair-minded to them when they don't deserve it.
No, they definitely don't. If you like what you're hearing, please consider subscribing to TruBlu Politics Podcast on Patreon. At any level you can, it is so appreciated and so needed. Anita and I would love to be able to increase the frequency of episodes. We would like to upgrade equipment to make these podcasts even higher quality. But, we have day jobs. We can't do this without support from our loyal listeners and our TruBlu Crew Politics Podcast subscribers. And at any level, you will get additional content as well as be a part of our TruBlu Crew Podcast chat room, where we can interact with you all and hear back. Give us some feedback. Whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on, please consider giving us 4 stars, 5 stars, and a review. We love hearing from you, and we couldn't do it without you. So please consider subscribing. Buy me a coffee. Buy Anita a coffee. And keep the fight going. We are living through unprecedented times with attacks on our democracy and our rights. So we want to continue to be voices in the resistance, and along with you, keep fighting the fight against this autocratic regime. Thanks, everybody. We love you. So before we move on, because I do want to talk about what's going on here in Chicago. But I do want to play the clip that you sent me about from Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, let me play that.
The Jimmy Kimmel News is about politics. This is about the President of the United States, who doesn't like that a comedian had the freedom to make fun of him, pressuring a corporation that had business before the government to make sure that he was taken off the air. And there's something I want to say to any of the business leaders who are being dragged across one red line after the other, who are going along with it because they think it's going to help them or because they think it will get the Trump administration off their back. You need to understand that this is a one-way trip, that sooner or later, if you play this game, you will have even less room for maneuver in the future. They didn't stop at the law firms. They didn't stop at the universities. They didn't even stop at the comedians. They are not going to stop until they have total power. And if you try to ride this tiger as a business or organizational leader, sooner or later, it will eat you.
And that's what happens. And that was so good because it's so true. What happens is that these corporations, they keep, bending a little bit and bending a little bit. Pretty soon, they won't even control their own companies.
Yes.
That's what happens is authoritarians. I know, like Tom Hartman used to say, oh, fascism is when corporations and the government, collude. Well, that's not true. What happens is the corporations, are threatened. They can't. Look what happened to Disney with Ron DeSantis, who was a fascist, who said, hey, if you're criticizing my legislation, don't say gay, then I'm going to punish you. I'm going to take away your tax privileges, right?
Yeah.
And so this is the same thing Donald Trump's doing. He's going to them and he's threatening them. He did that with what was the company he took 10% of? They actually took 10%. That's what Invicta.
Oh God, what is it? Intel? Was it Intel?
No, it wasn't Intel. It's can't remember the name of it, but it's a tech company. And now they've actually had to give up, was it Apple? No, it wasn't Apple.
No, it wasn't Apple. I thought it was Intel. Hold on. I'll look it up while you go ahead and talk. Keep talking.
NVIDIA I can't remember. It starts with an I. But anyway, so yeah, that's what's going to happen. The government's going to now be running your country. I mean, your company, and telling you what's what and what you can do and what you can say. And maybe even what you can manufacture.
Intel. It was Intel, honey.
No, I don't think
yes, it was. I'm looking at the article.
Okay, I believe you. All right.
Okay.
All right, I'm wrong once in a while. Break that down on your calendar.
Oh my God, I'm going to mark it down.
But I mean, I thought it was Invicta or something.
No, it's Intel. U.S. takes a 10% stake in Intel as
you're
part of
blind
Trump's.
shaming. You're blind shaming me, okay?
I am not. I am not.
I'm going to play the blind card.
Listen, I'm smart, not like they say. Sometimes I remember things.
You did remember that, right? Okay.
Yeah, well, thank you.
They
mark that down on your calendar, Anita.
But he took 10% of that, and they've always, accused every candidate and every Democratic president of being socialist or communist, even, and that's exactly what that is. Okay,
yep.
Taking 10% out. I'm just wondering when those Cubans that fled Castro are going to realize what Donald Trump is, that have been voting Republican for 50 years.
Yep.
But anyway, all right. If you want to talk about what's happening.
Well, yeah, as you know, and like some of the listeners that are in our, Stephanie Miller universe.
Right.
I live very near the Broadview, Illinois ICE detention center. And it is a boarded up building. It was opened up in 2022. So it has been there, but it did not look like this. But since Donald Trump ordered the National Guard and what they are calling Midway Blitz operations, with ICE coming into Chicago and neighboring communities to essentially terrorize, stop, detain, kidnap people and move them to locations that they are not being allowed to even notify family for several days of their whereabouts. So I have been making an effort to go over there at least once a day for a minimum of an hour. And yes, what I've been witnessing is a lot of, vehicles coming and going. The first day I was there, I noticed, that they were bringing individuals in unmarked civilian sedans, SUVs, and also small buses. So that was happening the first day that I was there. I witnessed a boy, I would say about 11 or 12 years of age, being unloaded, along with several adult men. I have since been, going back every day. I've had the opportunity to talk to some family members of whose loved ones have been taken off of their work vehicles, out of their Home Depot parking lot, picking up their kids at school. So various, scenarios, and people not knowing whether this is the location that their family member was taken to. Yesterday, a couple of people were able to identify, based off of phone tracking, that their loved one was taken to the Broadview facility. And, we're talking about a woman that I met, Anna, her fiance, was taken off of a work truck and wrestled to the ground, tased, and he was pepper sprayed and wrestled to the ground by ICE agents in a Chicago neighborhood. And luckily, he had his phone tracking on, and so she was able to track him to the Broadview facility. He came up here 2 months ago from North Carolina, and she is a single mom of 3 young children. And, like a a lot of Americans in a lot of families, 2 incomes, minimum of 2 incomes, and just making ends meet, paying for school supplies. She said, I don't know what I'm going to do. Of course, in addition to the just absolute, it's just so sad, Anita.
Yeah, I know.
The trauma of her having this man who she is planning a life with taken after he came up here for her. She's like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for my kids' school supplies.
Oh my God.
I don't know how I'm going to, she's like, you could see her mind just working through this. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how, and she had just, when she got the call, she had just dropped her kids off at school.
Well, first of all, this man wasn't doing anything wrong. He wasn't a criminal.
No.
He was trying to help. I mean, he was trying to, not start a family, but, contribute to this family, become a part of it.
Yes.
And then he was just.
And she said, I don't know how I'm going to tell my kids.
Yeah. How long has he been here?
2 months. He came here from North Carolina, and she said, I feel so horrible. I feel responsible. Now I feel responsible. I'm like, and I'm like, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
I told her,
well, they're taking the low hanging fruit. People, they're not criminal. They're people at work. They're looking for a job at Home Depot, or working in the fields, or taking care of somebody else's children. That's who they're taking.
Yes.
People building houses. That's who they're taking.
And this is what people need to understand. And I'm not just talking about the MAGA voters or Republican voters that bought into this bullshit.
Yep.
I'm talking about just your average American voter. Even
this
people
could be your
that
neighbor.
vote when they say, well, they said that they're going after the criminals. A lot of people bought that. A lot of people on both sides.
I know. A lot of Hispanics, Latinos bought it.
Yes, bought that bullshit. And I had a conversation yesterday, and I said, what you do not understand, that is not what is happening. I know what he said. That is not what is happening.
The criminals aren't going to work at Home Depot and standing out there knowing they might get, first of all, now, even knowing they're getting picked up, the criminals are hiding or have left. Okay.
Exactly.
And they were a small percentage, by the way. They're like less than 1%. Okay. Of those people here. There are 20 million, or no, I'm sorry. That's what they say. 11 million people here undocumented, at least. Right. And they're going about their business, starting their own little home, their own businesses, going to work, building houses, cleaning homes, working at nursing care. These are people that contribute to our society. They pay taxes. They pay into a social security system they're never going to get anything out of.
Yeah.
Right? And
exactly.
They make up stuff about them like, oh, they're all being housed at the Hilton or something. And they're all, they're given all this money. And I don't even know where they get this stuff, first of all. They're hardworking people. I know. I live in San Antonio, Texas, okay? We have a number of undocumented people, and they come around, and they did our remodeling, and in my home, they do the gardening. They do, they go around doing landscaping.
They're the ones that keep our economy churning. They're the ones that showed up for work every single day while the rest of us were on lockdown during COVID. They're the ones. They are the essential employees. They are the people who when the economist said that we had not only a soft landing, but a miracle recovery to the economy, post-pandemic economy, that they cited immigration as the number one contributor to us having a recovery, the recovery that we had.
And so it's important to talk about this about COVID. When they were the essential employees, they were forcing them to go back to work at these meatpacking places.
Yes.
They were forcing them to go back to work in the fields and pick our fruit.
Yes.
I mean, they are considered essential employees, but guess what? We can live without that CEO or that accountant.
Yes. Yes,
so, or that
exactly.
attorney.
Well, exactly right. And you have said this over and over again, the impact on our economy that this is going to have. And I don't know if you heard the Secretary of Agriculture, when she was asked by a reporter about the labor shortage on these farms. When she was asked, Donald Trump said that we're going to have to fill those positions. Who are they going to fill those positions with? Because of the mass deportations. And she said that it is going to be, the workforce is going to consist of Medicaid recipients.
Which is ridiculous, because there is this myth on the right that these Medicaid recipients are these able-bodied men, which is ridiculous, because the only men of working age that are on Medicaid are generally disabled or mentally incapacitated. It is ridiculous that these people are going to be able to work these jobs that nobody else will take. First of all, they're so hard. They work 20 hours a day in the hot sun.
Well, and Anita, not only that, but Medicaid, people that receive Medicaid assistance are families that have of severely disabled children too. Well, they get so what are they
the
talking?
families
But see,
don't.
this is
the
thing.
People that get Medicaid are the children themselves.
That's what I mean. But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's for the families. It's so that the parents that have to go and work 2 jobs or have to do, just make ends meet. It is for their children. It's for the children so that they can care for their children. And it's but of course, as is always the fucking case with these fucking sociopathic.
They are sociopaths. To say that. It is sociopathic.
Ghouls. They are sociopathic ghouls. What they are saying, what they are signaling to the most racist people in this country, because they have painted the narrative that the people that take SNAP assistance are black people, the people that are taking Medicaid are brown and black people. And so what is that saying? We're going to get those black people back in to the fields. They're going to be the ones.
I know. Well, they tried to say it would be the homeless. I guess now they're going to settle on Medicaid recipients. None of this is going to happen. First of all,
no.
So, and just like the jobs aren't coming back, these companies are not going to bring their manufacturing back.
Just
to
like prices didn't come down day one.
None of this is true. First of all, manufacturing for sure, because we've lost like 78,000 jobs since Donald Trump declared Liberation Day.
Right.
78,000 manufacturing jobs, to be clear.
Yep.
We're also losing other jobs.
Yes. And so what are they doing with no cause? They're going and they're grabbing people, and I'll tell you, the videos that I've been watching and the stories that I've been hearing from these people at the detention facilities is that it's just, there's the common thread, and the common thread is they stop them, they ask them for ID. We need to know if you're the person that we're looking for.
Which I think they're just lying to them.
Of course they are. Of course they are, because the Supreme Court said that they can racially profile. So they are not, look, they're not pulling over Irish immigrants who maybe overstayed their visa that look like me and look like you. They're pulling over brown people because the Supreme Court said that it's okay to do that. And that psychopath Stephen Miller and Tom Homan are doing exactly what they promised that they were going to do.
Speaking of which, they are doing exactly what they promised to do in Project 2025, which is another thing that Maggie Haberman,
Donald Trump didn't know anything about.
And yes, the mainstream media swallowed that whole, it's not fair for Kamala Harris to tie him to Project 2025 because he denied having to, wanting that he knew anything about it.
Yep.
He didn't know anything about it. Well, he doesn't have to know anything about it, by the way, because the people under him are the ones really running the country. You've got Stephen Miller and Tom Holman. What's his name? Holman? Yeah.
Tom Homan. Yep.
Yeah. Running the country and deciding what's going on. Well, Donald Trump does landscaping and decorating and deciding what to put in the ballroom.
He's the property manager.
Yeah, he's the property manager.
Yep.
Or playing golf or getting to go to the UK and be celebrated like he's, not a pedophile or not Jeffrey Epstein's best friend.
Yep. Yep. Well, I just want to play you just so that you kind of drive it home. I
Yeah.
just want to play for you that this is what my neighborhood sounds like today. There are protests happening at the ICE detention facility.
Good.
And there was, as was the case last Friday, people sitting in the driveway being physically moved by ICE agents. There were shooters up on the roof shooting pepper.
Oh my God.
Yes. Pepper bullet. I don't know what it is.
Pepper spray.
Well, but they're bullets. They're like hitting people with
Oh.
like these pepper
Rubber
bullets or
bullets?
something.
They're
Yeah,
rubber bullets
and
with
the
pepper?
rubber bullets. No, but with pepper.
Wow.
Apparently, I don't
didn't
know.
know
So,
that.
and tear gas. They're deploying tear gas. They did that earlier. There was an ambulance called, fire engine. I passed those as I was driving.
And a helicopter.
Past. Yep. And there have been media helicopters, and then there have been military helicopters circling as well all day. Now I'm in the basement, so I don't know if it's still happening, but that is what was happening, and I'm just going to play a little bit of this. So there's a military helicopter just circling over my house, basically. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. That's scary.
That's right over my house.
Oh my God.
So welcome to Trump's America, everybody.
Yeah. It feels more like North Korea or China or something right now.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's just, that's the thing. And I just, Anita, you and I have talked about it, and it's just, it is one thing to try and imagine what it's going to feel like, and it's a whole different thing to actually feel it. It is palpable. Every conversation that I have had, it really hits you, like the reality of this. And
well, you're right in the middle of it.
And but we're, so many of us are right in the middle of it. And I mean, I've been watching the videos of people confronting ICE agents as they're kidnapping people. And honestly, kudos to everybody that is stepping up. And in particular, let me just say, people that are Black and brown, special, kudos to you guys, because they are the ones that stand to lose. And they're just looking for an excuse.
Most at risk.
Yes, and they're the most at risk. And so this is why I am saying to anybody out there who is able to give an hour or two to get out, and we have
especially
our white
whites.
privilege, our our socioeconomic privilege to get out there and really start fighting against this and stand in the way of this.
It's the only thing that's going to stop it.
It's the only thing that's going to stop it. I mean, but be a good ally. Be a good ally. Like, don't show up and cause trouble just to cause trouble. But by all means, we have got to use our privilege right now.
Mm-hmm. Don't be good Germans.
Yes, do not be good Germans that do nothing. Don't be good Americans that do nothing. Understand what's happening here. And if this happens to the people in our community that don't look like us, it will happen to us. It will affect us. When they are taking away the rights, the constitutional rights of our fellow citizens, they will do it to us as well. That means those same rights go right out the window for all of us.
Well, we've seen that. I mean, they're already attacking our free speech.
Yes, of course.
So even if, God forbid, you criticize Charlie Kirk quote Charlie Kirk even.
Yes. That's all. Just quoting him. Mm-hmm. You're celebrating him. You're, somehow inciting some sort of political violence or excusing what happened to him. It's insanity, but this is where we are. So to everybody out there listening, if you can, it is time to get in the fight. We have to do this.
Yeah. Well, if you can't be there, try to do something
donate
to
call your representatives.
Call your representatives. Yes.
Donate. Yes.
Because there's a lot of people that need help, legal help, and just getting by. Like this woman you were talking to with her kids, who was afraid she wouldn't be able to afford school supplies and food for her children.
And that's just one. This is just one person, Anita.
Yeah. And so if you can't be there physically, like it's not here in my city, so I'm not there. But there are other ways that you can help. Like Karen said,
it's coming to a city near you. You know, I mean, that's the thing.
It's just a matter of time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But one of the organizations that's really doing a lot of work is the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights. There is a family support network hotline, 855-435-7693. There's a donate button. If you go to ICIRR.org,
I see, like I is in
I is in Irene, C is in cat, I is in Irene, Robert.org. You give to this organization because they are in desperate need of funding so that they can help. They have immigration attorneys. They have different programs and services that are serving the immigrant and refugee community here in Chicago. So that's
do what you can.
Yeah, do what you can.
You get in the way, okay? Make it hard for them to do these things that they're doing.
Yes, bring awareness and have the conversations. Anybody that that hasn't been paying attention, that isn't really clear on what's going on, it's time to shake some people awake.
Absolutely. There are too many people just going about their business like everything's fine, and it's not fine.
It's not fine.
It's not fine.
This is beyond a break glass moment.
And you won't. Yeah, and you'll find it, and you'll know it when it comes to you. But you don't want to wait that long. You have to stop it now.
Exactly. So we've got another place to be in about 20 minutes here. So, we're going to be on the Politics Bar with Jody Hamilton and Sean Pierce. So. We will see you.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you in a couple weeks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.